Wow, this is trouble, Stu. This is trouble. President Trump is supportive of designating Antifa a domestic terror organization.
Oh, no.
And as he and his aides consider how to respond to an increase in political violence, a concern pushed into the spotlight after last week's assassination of Charlie Kirk. Now, he's also, brace yourself for this too, because the Democrats would never do this. He's also looking into RICO charges. He's looking at people who have been putting millions and millions of dollars up for this agitation and actually charging them with RICO. Now, if you don't know what RICO is what the state AG in Georgia used to charge Donald Trump to overturn Georgia's election results in 2020.
Oh, wow.
So it's what the Democrats used against Donald Trump when they were trying to put him in prison. But how dare him think about using RICO charges?
No.
What kind of fascist, fathead fascist is this guy? My God.
Can you believe it, Glenn? Can you believe that a president would use the law and target his political opponents? I know.
No.
It seems crazy. One person who actually could believe that might happen, me, you, every single person in this audience who just had to deal with multiple Democratic administrations who kept doing that over and over and over and over again. I seem to remember
exactly what a fascist would say.
Speaking of fascism, good thing to bring up. I seem to remember a giant speech in front of a red wall that looked like a scene out of a Star Wars sequel, where the president of the United States spent an hour outlining how every single one of his opponents were domestic terrorists and capable of violence at any moment, and how we needed to crack down on it. I seem to remember this over and over.
Here you are engaging in whataboutism when all we're talking about the fascist fathead that is nothing but a fascist who loves fascism, Donald Trump, trying to use the RICO Act, and forget about what the Democrats used the RICO Act for last time. How dare he try to use the RICO Act to get people and put them in jail for actually financing revolution in our country?
Yeah.
You just don't get it, Stu.
I know. I'm terrible at this game. And I will say, I am sensitive to the charge of whataboutism. We were critical of those efforts in both of those administrations. And so I stand up here we will make an important designation here in a moment, because there is a massive difference as to what we were talking about then and what we're talking about now. These are not the same. They're not the same at all. But I just want to make it clear that I very much can picture a president going after his political opponents and calling them all terrorists and saying he's going to crack down on all their organizations. I can even picture, you want to go crazy, I can even picture a time in which people like David Barton were put on extremist lists. I can remember that time. I can even remember, Glenn, a time in which that we put mothers and fathers who went to school board hearings on domestic terrorist watch lists. This I can remember.
So, okay, hang on just a second. I am having a hard time with your logic here, because you said you wanted to picture it, and you could picture. Well, are you picturing it, or are you remembering it, Stu? Be consistent.
I've fallen out of character. I can picture all of these things occurring because they very much did occur over and over and over again. Most of my adult life, Glenn, has been spent being either rumored or directly accused of being on a terrorist extremist watch list. For what? I want lower taxes? This has been the entire run of this show. We are in. If you go to Apple iTunes, I'm pretty sure we're under the domestic extremist category. So I very much can understand and picture how this could occur. Now, as I'm sure someone yelling whataboutism at their radio can attest, we were very critical of those efforts. And it is absolutely true and legitimate to bring up that criticism. So what is the difference? Yes. The difference is clear. And if you actually listened, and I know a lot of you people who are in the media today that might be tuning in now to try to catch us saying something bad today, whatever your stupid failure of a life job is, where you critique and transcript our shows, you might be thinking, well, wait a minute, I remember this because I was listening and obsessing about everything that was been said on this show for multiple years, that they were critical of those efforts. That is true. And if you listen to the actual vice president in his filling in for Charlie Kirk yesterday, he outlined very clearly what he was talking about. First of all, he did name specific groups like the Ford Foundation, like the Open Society Institute, that are that are pathways for all of this stuff. And we've talked about that many times. I heard the phrase "without evidence" over and over and over again. Donald Trump said "without evidence." J.D. Vance said "without evidence." That one was bothering me for multiple reasons.
Let me just play the funding of violence by George Soros. Here's J.D. Vance yesterday. Cut 2.
First, we must tell the truth. It's the only way to honor Charlie. For what was he, if not a man who told the truth in every place, in every environment? Another truth is that 26% of young liberals believe political violence is sometimes justified.
26.
And only 7% of young conservatives say the same. Again, too high a number. In a country of 330 million people, you can, of course, find one person of a given political persuasion justifying this or that or almost anything. But the data is clear. Mm-hmm. People on the left are much likelier to defend and celebrate political violence. This is not a both sides problem. If both sides have a problem, one side has a much bigger and malignant problem, and that is the truth we must be told. Mm-hmm. And now, the most influential conservative activist in generations, our friend Charlie, has been murdered. This violence, it doesn't come from nowhere. Now, any political movement, violent or not violent, is a collection of forces. It's like a pyramid that stacks on top, one support on top of the other. That pyramid's got a foundation of donors, of activists, of journalists, now of social media influencers, and of course of politicians. Not every member of that pyramid would commit a murder. In fact, over 99%, I'm sure, would not. But by celebrating that murder, apologizing for it, and emphasizing not Charlie's innocence, but the fact that he said things some didn't like, even to the point of lying about what he actually said, many of these people are creating an environment where things like this are inevitably going to happen. We can thank God that most Democrats don't share these attitudes, and I do, while acknowledging that something has gone very wrong with a lunatic fringe, a minority, but a growing and powerful minority on the far left. There is no unity with people who scream at children over their parents' politics. There is no unity with someone who lies about what Charlie Kirk said in order to excuse his murder. There is no unity with someone who harasses an innocent family the day after the father of that family lost a dear friend. There is no unity with the people who celebrate Charlie Kirk's assassination. And there is no unity with the people who fund these articles, who pay the salaries of these terrorist sympathizers, who argue that Charlie Kirk, a loving husband and father, deserved a shot to the neck because he spoke words with which they disagree. Did you know that the George Soros Open Society Foundation and the Ford Foundation, the groups who funded that disgusting article justifying Charlie's death, do you know they benefit from generous tax treatment? They are literally subsidized by you and me, the American taxpayer. And how do they reward us? By setting fire to the house built by the American family over 250 years. I am desperate for our country to be united in condemnation of the actions and the ideas that killed my friend. I want it so badly that I will tell you a difficult truth. We can only have it with people who acknowledge that political violence is unacceptable and when we work to dismantle the institutions that promote violence and terrorism in our own country.
You know, listen to his facts. He said 99% of those on the left would never do anything like this. He was talking about the pyramid. And 99%. Listen, the guy can't even do math. It's 74% wouldn't do it because 26% say they're for the violence.
And it's only 4 times. We're told over and over again this is a both sides problem. And if I have to hear another person acknowledge an incident that was legitimately terrible, the Minneapolis shooting of the 2 people in Minneapolis, which was legitimately bad. And if you want to blame that on one side, it did
made a big deal out of it.
Yep, absolutely horrible. I literally met 0 people or even saw one tweet supporting that. Yes. Celebrating it, laughing about it. I saw nothing. Now, I'm not saying it doesn't exist.
No, but still,
I don't go to the darkest corners of the internet.
Why isn't this as big as the Charlie Kirk murder?
Well,
why isn't this just as big? It's the whataboutism. You have your murder. We had our murder. How come you make a big deal out of Charlie Kirk?
Well, first of all, I think, as most people would know, Charlie Kirk is one of the most famous people in politics. He was one of the most well-known and powerful people in the entire conservative movement. That does not mean to demean the life being taken by the people of the people in Minnesota, but quite clearly, as you know, every time they recount this, they don't say their names. They didn't even know their names before. They don't even know them now. They're just using them as an argument, these poor 2 people that were killed. They're using them as an argument to try to deflect off of their own side and the violence problem that the left has. This is a real thing. You could try to deflect it all you want, but all of these examples keep piling up on one side of the ledger. And, you know, what J.D. Vance points out with facts, he gave several polls there, showing 3, 4, 5x the problem on the left as we do of the right. We do have a problem on the right, as J.D. Vance acknowledged multiple times. Even 7% is way too high to accept political violence. That should be 0. However, the problem is much larger on the other side. And to be clear here, we keep hearing this giant crackdown, an awful thing that's going to happen that's going to trample all of our rights. We have one example of the types of policies they're talking about here that was outlined by the Vice President of the United States, targeting the favorable tax treatment of the organizations fomenting this violence. That is what has been proposed here, as far as I can tell. And Antifa being designated a terrorist group. Those are the 2 things that have been tossed out there.
But you're forgetting that they want to use the RICO Act, something that is clearly only something that the Attorney General in Georgia could use against Donald Trump. Let's move on from that. All right, let me tell you about PragerU. If you've ever watched a young person struggle to explain why America is worth defending, then you know why PragerU exists. We are living in a time when basic truths are being twisted, history is being rewritten, and common sense is treated like a threat. PragerU is fighting back in the most positive of ways. I mean, Charlie Kirk and PragerU have probably done more to save this country than any of us combined. They have worked with our kids. If you've never checked out their content, you need to. I can guarantee you, if you have kids, your kids have checked out their content. PragerU Kids is one of the most powerful tools out there for parents who want to raise good, thinking, grounded young people who, can actually defend the country. September 19th, right now until September 19th, and this is only for this audience, PragerU is extending their triple match campaign. If you want to make an impact on the next generation, this is the best time to support PragerU. It's a special opportunity for you where every dollar you donate now until September 19th, you will be triple matched. Take advantage of this by going to PragerU.com/Glenn. That's PragerU.com/GLENN. PragerU.com/Glenn. I have donated. Make your donation. Now you'll get triple matched. I've never seen an organization do anything like that. They've got some great people that are standing on the sidelines that are waiting to match your gift. 3 times. Every dollar will turn into $4. Do it now. It's PragerU.com. PragerU.com/Glenn. All right, back in just a minute. Yeah, but it's only 26% say that political violence is okay, Stu.
Only a quarter?
Only 26%.
A little more than a quarter, I suppose.
Just so you know, do you think it's pretty out there when you hear people go, gee, we never went to the moon? We never went to the moon.
Oh, yeah. It's way out there.
Right. That's pretty out there, right?
Yeah.
Okay. But you could say it's growing. There's a growing number of people that are saying we never went to the moon.
Yeah, it seems
the current number, I think, is 16%. Okay, 16.
Which is up, but it's still very
Which is way up. It used
low.
to be 7.
Yeah, it used to be 7. Still very much lower than 26. I'm not a mathematician, though my understanding is that 26 is still to this day higher than 16 or 7.
Yeah, that's weird. That's weird. So you're looking at a pretty large. Dare I say it? I don't want to get. I mean, this show is known for its science and its mathematics. We get into heavy math and heavy science all the time here. But dare I say it and bring it up, and Stu, maybe you can break this down for the people. That's just 1 percentage point over a quarter of the population for the left.
Of the left, yeah. That's interesting. I would also argue, you have the 7% of the moon supporters when it was really, really fringe and no one ever talked about, the moon landing was faked. That's the same percentage it currently is for the right to approve of political violence. As the vice president said, very much too high, but it's almost impossible to have percentages lower than 5 to 7% in these polls. Yeah, somebody always believes something crazy.
Right. When we were doing interviews on the moon, 7% were like, we're not on the moon. That's a movie set. Okay. When it was very, very clear, we went to the moon. Now, with all of the, indoctrination and everything else that everybody's questioning, now you've got, 10% more, just under 10% that are like, we never went to the moon. We never went to the moon. That number is growing, but unfortunately, so is the call for political violence. Okay? And, it is bad on the right. I'd like that number to be 0. But again, that's, the number of people who thought we didn't go to the moon about 20 years ago when everybody knew we went to the moon. Still, 7% is really bad. 26% is much, much worse. I just want to point that out. One of these things is not like the other.
This is Glenn Beck.
All right, let me tell you about preborn. It's really easy. Crying babies are annoying, but crying babies, when they're first crying, it's like, hey, they're alive, and that's one thing that is really easy to celebrate: life. Now, some people don't want to celebrate life. Some people would say, shout your abortion. That's called a culture of death. And as we've talked about on this program over and over and over again, a culture of death might start with the babies, but then end with the killing of anyone they find useless. Or annoying. That crying baby, that shouting Charlie Kirk. Doesn't matter. Once you start dismissing life, you can dismiss any life. If it offends you, if you don't deem it worthy. See how this works? Preborn wants us to get back to the basics and declare that all life is sacred. We have to stand up for life in the abortion clinics, and that is exactly what happens with Preborn. They're great. Preborn.com/Beck. Make a donation now. Preborn.com/Beck. Dial pound 250 on your phone. Say the keyword baby and save and stand up for life. Welcome to the Glenn Beck program. I'm on my way to Phoenix for the rest of the week. I will be at TPUSA tomorrow, filling in for Charlie Kirk. And I am honored to, I have to tell you, boy, I don't know what it's going to feel like to sit in his chair. But we'll do that tomorrow. Listen, I want to talk to you about a friend of mine. I have a very dear friend. She's mom. She has some older kids. Later in life, she had a surprise, and it was a joyful surprise. So she still has one young son at home. I remember she told me years ago when her son was 4, he was getting ready for bed one night, and she pulled his pajamas on over his head. And she took her face in his hands, and she said, "I just love you so much." And her son reached out, grabbed her face, and said, "Mom, someday I'm going to have to fight a great battle, and you are not getting me ready for it." Now, when she told me this, I said, "What are you telling your 4-year-old?" What is it? You're like, "By the way, Jesus is coming, and there's going to be a great battle. And the devil's going to get you." I'm like, what are you telling your kid? She's like, "Glenn, we have never had a conversation about any of that. Never." She's like, "He's 4. Why would I be saying anything like that?" And she was just, her and her husband were like, what is happening? And he was dead set. There is a great battle coming, and I have to fight it, and you're not preparing me for it. Now, he's 11. She called me after the shooting with Charlie, and she told me that the shooting reminded her of that moment with her son. And then she said something so tragic, because I know this woman. I love her to death, and I know her heart, and I know the way she's raising her kids. And she said to me, "I don't think I have been raising him, Glenn. I even knowing that I'm supposed to, I don't know if I've done enough to prepare him for what's coming next, to get ready him to get ready for what he has to do in his life." We all go through this one way or another. As our kids, my 2 younger kids, moved out of the house this year. And I'm terrified. Because Tanya and I both say we didn't do enough. And I got to believe our Heavenly Father might have had a moment of that as he's sending us through the veil and through the birth canal, going, did I do enough to make sure? I mean, the work we have to do is the work of uniting all of us. This generation, I'm absolutely convinced, this generation is the generation that has been sent here at this time for a reason. And I think I know what that reason is, but I could be wrong. I don't know. But I know it. And I've seen it. I've had 2 gatherings of youth at my house in the last 10 days. I had about 70 people over at my house last Sunday, and I think I had about 50 people over the Tuesday before Charlie was shot. And I sat there and I taught them civics and history of our country, and I showed them artifacts and tried to engage with them to get them to see the things that I see that they have never been taught. And I saw it in their eyes. They are engaged, and many of them know tough times are coming, and while they don't want to talk about it per se, they know they're going to be the ones that are going to fix this and change this and take all of this on. I see it in the faces of my own children. My friend sees it in the face of her 4-year-old who's now 11. And I think you see it too. the God-given potential of the generations that are behind us, that are now coming up. William Wordsworth, the poet, said that birth is not the beginning of our existence. Quote, trailing clouds of glory do we come from God, who is our home. Each child comes to us with this divine light inside, an infinite potential. And if you've had more than one kid, you know it's not just nurture, because all 4 of my kids are wildly different. As the kids raised the flag here at my ranch on Sunday, I looked around at them and I wished I could show them what I saw in them, the potential that all of them. I wish I could share with the youth just a glimpse of what I see. I wish I could send them a YouTube or Instagram or TikTok video of who they really are. You know, a video of how I really see them, how God sees them. But I think that is our mission. And we have to understand, can you imagine what the parents of the shooter feel like today? Gosh, if you live in their community, I hope you let them know they're not alone. I mean, not to excuse the shooter or anything else, but my gosh, I've raised 4 teenagers now, and it is not easy. And all of us, we all know you got a wayward kid. And in today's world, it's even worse because there are predators out there waiting to take your kid. Our job, I used to think it was to save America, but our job is actually bigger than that. Our job is to lead the next generation to their work and not tell them exactly how to do it. Because I don't know how to do it, do you? If I knew how to do it, I think we'd be doing it. I think too many of us think they're not capable, and we're treating our kids like kids. Stop it. They're not kids at 26. I don't think they're kids at 16. Things have changed. Childhood has changed. Stop treating them like children. I mean, I know I'm like you. I get frustrated that our kids, you know, they're not like we used to be. They didn't have. You know who used to say that too? The greatest generation. Their parents used to say that too. They didn't have to work hard for a living. They don't know what it's like without these. This is literally what they said. Without these fancy cars and refrigeration. They don't know what it was like to get a block of ice out of the lake and bring it to keep your food cold. They're never going to be able to fight anything. They're weak. They were the greatest generation. We got to stop calling these guys lazy and lost because they're not. They may be lost, but just as lost as you and I are, I got to tell you, I'm lost. I fight every single day with something. There's something in my head. Oh, man, pray for me, please. I've got so many things. I got this tangled knot in my head right now, and I haven't had this, honestly. I had the opportunity to baptize my niece on Saturday and her husband. And I stood in the waters, and I'm like, Lord, can we just start over with me too? Can I just... I know I'm not going under the water. I'm baptizing somebody, but can we just start all over? Because I got this tangled knot in me, and I've got so many things, what I did, what I didn't do, and I got to get rid of it all. Take it from me, please. Take it. They're lost, but let's admit it, so are we. And I know the answer for me. We just have to put our hand out to bring them with us and ask them to bring us with them as they fight for freedom. Bible says, and about the 11th hour he went out and found the other standing idle. and saith unto them, Why stand ye here all the day idle? They said unto him, Because no man has hired us. We have left them idle because we've made the decision that they're not as capable as we are. You ever worked for somebody like that? Nah, I'll just do it myself. You don't get anywhere with that kind of person. They weren't sent here to be like us. That's the point. Again, if we could have fixed it, we would have fixed it. They weren't sent here to be like us. They were sent here to be the battalion that God needs them to be for this time and for this moment. Let's stop trying to shape them in our image. It's our call to help them see who they are and to grow into the image that God has intended for them. I'd love for my son or daughter to be like me, like the things I like, because we'd have such an easy time on things and, do the things that I want you to do. That's not the way it is. It's not the way it's supposed to be. It's our call to help them. And he shall send his angels with a great sound of a trumpet, and they shall gather together his elect from the four winds and from one end of heaven to the other. I think Charlie was one of those angels. I do. He saw the potential in the youth, even though the culture was saying they were addicted to screens and they're apathetic and they don't know what it's like to go drag the ice out of the lake. Charlie was gathering the elect so they could bring together all of God's children from the four corners of the earth. Now it's our turn. We are the angels and they are the elect. Charlie saw that. Charlie lived that. And it's time for people of my age to live that too. Mom, Dad, someday I'm going to have to fight a great battle. Please, get me ready for it. Back in a minute. When you're buying or selling a home, it's not just a transaction. It is a minefield that you're walking through. Blindfolded, bad timing, bad neighborhoods, bad agents who vanish the second you sign. If you've been through it, you know exactly what I mean. And if you haven't, count your blessings. I built real estate agents I trust to change all that, and they connect you with the top agents who share your values, people who actually call you back, know the market, fight to get the best deal when you're buying and selling and upsizing, downsizing, or isn't getting out of Dodge entirely. These are full-time professionals. These are the people that I started working with the 500 best real estate agents in the country, according to the Wall Street Journal. I learned from them. What makes a real estate agent a great real estate agent? What makes you somebody I can trust? I learned, and then we went out and we found those kinds of people because there's a lot of them out there. Now, we have, I think, about 3,000 or 4,000 agents nationwide, so we may not have one in your area. Most likely we do, but we may not have one in your area. And we don't just, we vet these people and we keep the number strong. We have about a 10,000 person waiting list to get on Real Estate Agents I Trust. We won't take people. They may be good, but we just won't take people because we want to monitor everything. We want to make sure that they are who we say they are. So we monitor every transaction. We follow up and make sure, did they do what we said, what Glenn said they were like? Is that what they're like? realestateagentsitrust.com. realestateagentsitrust.com. It's a free service to you. Find the right real estate agent, whether you're moving across the street or across the country, you're selling a house that maybe your mom and dad had, whatever it is, we can help you. realestateagentsitrust.com.
Dumping DC's garbage while the swamp cries constitutional crisis. Beck is back after this.
There's a knock at your door one morning. You open it up, and there's a man in a suit holding a clipboard. "Hi," he says. "I'm here for the final walkthrough before the sale closes." And you laugh, you think it's a scam, maybe he has the wrong house, but then he shows you the paperwork and your name isn't even on the deed anymore. This happens over and over again, more often than you'd think. Scammers forge a signature, they file a fraudulent transfer document with your county recorder's office, and then suddenly the title to your home is no longer yours. You can still live there for a while, of course, but now it's tied up in court and you're still left fighting to get it back. It's a complete and utter catastrophe for everybody involved. And it's the type of situation that really is a problem for people when you get through this like you are down the creek, if you will. That's why Home Title Lock exists. They monitor your home's title 24/7. They alert you the moment anything suspicious happens, before the transfer goes through, before the damage is done. And if you're targeted, they've got a whole team of title restoration experts ready to work on your behalf and restore your good name and your rightful ownership. AI is a big part of this. This is making this crime a lot easier to accomplish. It's changing the world, as we know, but don't let it change the name on your home's title. Go to HomeTitleLock.com and use the promo code BLAZE. If you think about your home, you think about your financial future, you think about your financial legacy. What are you passing down to the next generation? Protect it. HomeTitleLock.com. HomeTitleLock.com. The promo code is BLAZE.
I have some sad news for you. Robert Redford has passed away. He was, I think, 81. Is that right?
89. 89, actually.
89 years old. Wow. 89 years old. He's passed away. Now, imagine if I got on and said, I didn't like his politics. I'm glad he's dead. Imagine what you would think, hopefully, you would think, what a monster you are. Because I'm not glad he's dead. I really despised his politics, but the guy brought a lot of joy to a lot of people, including me. Well, he did. Well, I should say, I crashed into him on the ski slopes at one point, and he was very foul-mouthed and said a lot of things to me. I should not have been on the ski slopes.
Wait. What? What did you just say?
You don't know
crashed
this story?
into Robert Redford on the ski slopes?
So I'm 19 years old, 18 years old, and I'm skiing at Sundance, and I'm not a skier. Okay. And my friend, who is a very good skier, said, come on up, go up with it. And it was like the double or triple black diamond. Okay. And I'm like, I don't think I should. He's like, that's not that hard. And I'm like, I'm not a good skier. And he's like, it's not that hard. Okay. So I'm up at the either double or triple black diamond slopes. And I get off the chairlift and I'm like, good God, man, I am dead. What have you done to me? And he's like, just follow me. And he's gone. And so I'm skiing and should not be up there. And this guy comes skiing next to me, and I think I fall over or cry. He freaked me out. And so I crash and I knock him down, and he comes tumbling. And he gets up, and he's got his goggles on and everything else. He gets up, and some guy is helping me up. And this guy comes, and he just reads me the riot act with every F word you go. You should not be up here. And I'm like, I know. I'm really sorry. I know. And he skis away. And the friend who helped me up was his friend. And he helped me up. And he just shrugged his shoulders and went, it's his mountain. And it's like, oh my gosh, I just wrecked into Robert Redford.
This is Glenn Beck.